Hello and welcome to Not Every Single. I'm Joe.
And I'm Stephanie.
So, we haven't talked about Britney on this channel.
We have not, somehow.
It starts now. We're starting at the beginning. Let's do it.
One of the goats.
Yeah, I mean, this channel is us talking about pop music as an art form and really examining stuff and digging deep into things. If pop music is an art form, then the people behind this record and Britney herself are masters of their craft, right?
Yeah, and she came out at such a young age, really understanding what it meant to be a pop star.
So it's essential. We have to talk about it, and the best place to start is the beginning. So if you like that kind of stuff, stick around, hit subscribe, hit like, baby, one more time.
No.
Okay. So background on Britney, what's going on? She gets out of Mickey Mouse Club.
Right.
I've never seen Mickey Mouse Club.
Yeah, I think you were like maybe a little young for that iteration of it.
What is it?
It's like a variety show. There's skits, there's singing, there's little sort of soap opera-y type of little shows within the show.
Really?
Yeah, it was great. Good stuff.
Sounds fun. All right, cool. I did not know that. So she comes out of Mickey Mouse Club. She's getting shopped to different labels. Some labels want to put her into a group, but she wants to be a solo artist. She gets rejected a bunch and finally lands at a label that says, all right, let's do this. Solo artist, let's go. Mm-hmm. And this is the debut record, comes out January 1999, which makes it the last great pop record before the world ends from Y2K. Now, I have heard it for the first time today.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'd never heard it before.
First time in full.
In full, yeah.
Obviously, I've heard Baby One More Time. I have heard parenthetical You Drive Me and parenthetical Crazy. Mm-hmm. And I think that's it. That is what I'd heard before.
You may have heard From the Bottom of My Broken Heart, but it's not to me, that's not a super memorable song, but it was a single.
Really? Yeah, it didn't sound familiar, so most of this was completely new to me. I got my notes. Someone commented recently that they love how we take so many notes.
I have 3 pages of notes.
3 pages of notes.
Or 4 maybe, yeah.
All right, let's dive into the beginning. First thing we hear, ba 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 ba, Baby One More Time.
Just like the greatest opening that you could have done for this album. Like the greatest opening notes, greatest opening song.
It's attention grabbing.
Yeah.
I think whether you know what's coming or not, like it's like someone like knocking on the door. It's like, hey, listen to this.
I think the space in it is really important too, because you get that little like second of like, ooh, what's that?
This was the first time I've heard this song on like good headphones, a detailed listen. And it's funny, like, obviously I've heard the song a billion times throughout my life at, just out and about in the world. But listening to it like this for the first time, you hear little things that like I didn't even know were in there. Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff going on in this song.
I didn't know how like funky and like slappy the bass was. And, some of those like higher bass notes like really pop out at the right times and stuff. And it has that like, it also has that sort of like funky, like Nile Rodgers type guitar in there sometimes. It's like, wow, wow,
Yeah, some of the guitar stuff on this album was a little surprising, actually.
I want to talk about enunciation for a second.
Okay.
Enunciation of songs or words like baby that I wrote down sounds like babum. Like babum, babum, know?
I thought baby.
That is
baby.
Yeah, I swear there's like an sound at the end of them. It sounds so odd to me.
I think it's because she's doing it into the B, which is a vocal trick to like, because you're not popping your consonant quite so much.
And even throughout the first verse, like that was the first thing, that was one of the things I was thinking about was like her enunciation is like odd in an ear-grabbing way.
Yeah, she's not really appreciated enough for her vocal delivery. I hear a lot, she's not a good singer or blah, but she goes in, she does a thing that Gerard Way really does well too, which is like every little bit counts. Every little bit counts in this song. Not across the whole album necessarily, but she gave this song absolutely everything.
I've heard that about Freddie Mercury too.
Yeah.
Like Freddie Mercury, Gerard. It's like artists that sing in a way where like words often sound weird and like no one's ever sung that word like that before.
Yeah.
But it's not a bad thing. It's a interesting thing that keeps you engaged as a listener.
And there's the vocal fry and stuff in this song, the way she like uses her throat to sing is like not instinctual at all. That's not something that you do naturally. I know she's influenced by Janet Jackson. I'm not sure if that comes from her. But like most kids her age going in to record an album would not be this confident and experimental to try this kind of thing.
Yeah. It seems like, reading about the making of this record, it really feels like it sounds like she was so determined, but on top of that was up for anything, kind of up to try different things. And that's why there's a lot of different stuff going on this record.
Yeah, she's got these little like vocal flourishes, these little like it'll go into head voice, and there's like a decent run she does in like the bridge, I think.
Yeah.
That's not, again, it's not the most complicated one in the world, but you have to learn a little bit about vocal theory to do that.
Yeah, and I was also impressed with how low some of these vocals go.
Yeah, she's got a little bit of a range, enough to do some different things where it's not stagnant.
That was really cool. Now I read this song was originally pitched to TLC.
Ooh, that makes sense.
Interesting, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I'm glad it ended up on this Britney record, but it's weird to think about that alternate version, that alternate world where TLC did Baby One More Time.
Also, she recorded this album in Sweden.
Yes.
Let's talk about that for a second because, I think a lot of American producers would be tough for a young girl to work with, these men. In Sweden, it's a different culture. And, if you learn a little bit about the studio where she went, it was all about fun and relaxation and cool, like professional and goofy and no pressure and just like do a good job. And combined with her work ethic, that's what created this sort of ability to do things differently and cooler.
It really seemed like right place, right time from what I learned about it. These were a group of people in Sweden that were just very good at what they do and very excited about it.
Right.
So the air was like just a vibe of like fun, excitement. Let's do it. Yes, the work days are long, but it's because we're loving it.
Right.
If you want to learn more about this whole scene and how Sweden fits into the pop music world as a whole, there's a good episode of the Netflix show This Is Pop about it. It's a fun watch. I recommend it. But yeah, that's it about Sweden for now. Let's get into You Drive Me Crazy, which is like more of a like hip hop beat than I remembered.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of her, early singles are so inextricably tied to the music videos for me.
Oh, what was this one?
This was for a movie called You Drive Me Crazy, or I think that's what it was called. It was Melissa Joan Hart and
yes,
the guy was he like the Entourage guy or
I'm not sure.
I can't remember.
Didn't
Sorry.
see it.
And so the music video, I'm pretty sure it was one where like it also had like movie stuff in it. And I think Melissa Joan Hart was also in the music video.
Whoa.
And then Britney's wearing this like shiny green top. It's very memorable.
Okay, cool. Yeah, this one was fun. It's got, it actually has like heavy guitar. It's way back in the mix, but that was done more on like the Backstreet Boys stuff.
Right.
Where that heavy guitar was brought forward a little bit more to give the Backstreet Boys ones a little more edge besides the ballads, and we see more of that in NSYNC too. They had, that edge was a little sharper with them. Some of them had the heavier guitars mixed in sometimes. And it was cool to hear that there and be like, oh yeah, it comes from the same group of guys,
You can tell. Yeah. And, these two songs, one after the other, pretty good double punch of just like catchy pop songs. And again, like she's giving it her best. She has some limitations, but she really goes for it. And I'm really impressed with that throughout this album, how much she goes for stuff.
You know what is very impressive? What do we get at 2:10 in this track? 2 minutes and 10 seconds. We get A key change. That is really cool and super unexpected. In fact, it almost I couldn't. Someone who knows more about music theory, tell me if I'm right or wrong here. It almost sounds like there's two key changes until it comes back to the original.
It comes back down. Yeah, I know. I forgot to write that down, but like, yeah, it comes actually back down before she has to sing.
Yeah,
because I don't think she could actually sing.
That sounds hard.
Though there are other songs where she gets that high on the album. So good job, Britney.
The key change was really cool. And it's one of those things, if you watch this channel, you've maybe heard me say this 5 times. It's so important to have moments in the back half of songs that keep you engaged as a listener. You know, whether you're aware of it or not, maybe your attention is starting to drift after 2 minutes or so. And to have something like that just like gets you back into focus on this track is important and smart.
Yeah. And she uses vocal dynamics in a similar way. Well, she'll pull back and do head voice, then she'll go back into like a fuller voice. A lot of the background stuff will be like in head voice.
Yeah. Yeah.
When it's not, there's a lot of like backing vocals on this album that's not her. But there is a lot that's her as well.
I'm glad you brought that up because I kind of forgot to bring that up with Baby One More Time. Is like you have this hook that, you know, they have this pad come in, you know, this kind of like extended keyboard note known as a pad, and the melody almost has like a creepiness to it in the chorus,
right?
And yeah, you have backing vocals that like I'm listening close. I'm like, I hear like a male in there. Like this isn't just her. It's like backed up with all these other people.
Yeah.
And it really makes the hooks pop.
Yeah.
And we hear that again on Crazy.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. I think it was really smart to do, especially at the time, you know, people are watching music videos on their crappy TVs and stuff. It's good to beef that hook up a bit, you know, make it sound nice and full.
Give it some resonance there.
All right, let's start speeding through this a little more.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes I thought was kind of the most dated one so far.
So far, yeah. There's a lot in here that doesn't age the best.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's people who still love it, but
right.
you know, it's 90s pop.
Yeah, this one, like, you could really hear that, like, to the point where it almost sounded earlier than this record.
Yeah.
And I thought that was the most dated sounding one, probably. And then you get into Soda Pop, which is kind of like almost like Britney's little pre-Rocksteady, you know?
Yeah, it's like kind of reggae.
Yeah. Kind of like a very, very pop version of like a reggae thing.
And then you've got like another vocalist, not credited.
Right.
Like, I'm sure it's credited somewhere. I forgot to look it up. But like, why are they not credited? Why are they singing so much?
Yeah, it was like
they
were very heavily featured.
And then also like the lyrics is like, I'm kind of surprised this wasn't a bigger like scandal, because this is some heavy innuendo on this song.
Yeah. I wasn't crazy about this one. That hook came back like it felt like one too many times too. Like I got kind of sick of it, but
at least it was something different, you know.
It was fun to hear.
Yeah.
Kind of breaks up the record a bit, leads you into Act 2. And yeah, it made me think of like a fun bubblegum version of Rocksteady.
Yeah.
And then we get, Born to Make You Happy. Now, this is interesting because we get a little bit of Latin influence on this track.
Oh, okay.
And that was like about to blow up bigger a couple years later. Once the Neptunes are in the game and they're producing tracks and every music video is like Latin dancing and everyone's like really hot and sweaty and stuff, like that was a couple years down the line. So they were kind of ahead of the game here.
But wasn't like J-Lo and like Ricky Martin and stuff already happening?
It's true, but it hadn't like gone like all consuming into like every pop star.
So they were tapping into like the beginnings of this, because I think Jennifer Lopez and Ricky Martin were like really at the very beginning of that thing. And it's too bad that Christina wasn't put more on that, because she is
right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, it was like a sign of things to come, which is it creeping into everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
For a while at least.
Yeah.
Good hook. I liked the song. I thought it was really fun. I thought it was nice to hear the acoustic guitar a little bit.
Yeah.
Some real world elements.
And this is also just looking at it lyrically, as I do. This is just such the quintessential teen 90s song. I forget, exactly what the lyrics were or whatever, but it's this whole like love is the big, the most important thing. And you're like always longing for somebody or for that perfect love, and someone just left you or you're lonely. It's like you gotta have a song where you're just like sitting there just like longing for this perfect love, and like you left me. Kind
of the like feel sorry about yourself song.
Yeah. So like because all your listeners are like teens, and they're just like, I know how you feel, Britney. Oh my gosh, you get me.
Okay. From the bottom of my heart, made me think the ballads age more than the bangers.
Yeah.
That's kind of the takeaway here.
It's a cute song, but I don't need it.
We'll get to a ballad later that I did like and think was fun, but yeah, that's definitely like my main takeaway of this album, or at least one of them, is the ballads age more than the bangers. But next we have I'll Be There, which had something that I had to stop and ask you, wait, what is this reminding me of?
Which I didn't notice when I listened to it.
I heard it right away. I heard this and I was like, wait, I know this, but it's from a different song. Finally, we placed it. You placed it.
Torn
by
Natalie Imbruglia.
Right, which was 1997. The second note is different. This is my, I feel like I'm in School of Rock. But yeah, the second note is different, but it's essentially ripped a little bit from that song. Here's my take on that. Who cares? Whatever. Great artist steal.
Yeah, I was like kind of into this change in sound with this song. It really reminded me of like, I think what it's reminding me of is like a Mariah Carey-ish type of a song.
Okay, yeah.
You're getting a little more into like R&B and like gospel influence.
Right.
Which carries on for a few songs here. It kind of sounds like something Mariah Carey might have sung on one of her earlier albums, and I was pretty impressed with Britney's ability to pull off the vocal delivery.
Now, it's around here that I start to realize this record has some surprises in the back half.
Yeah.
Because like until this one, I was starting to think like, okay, so this album does one thing really well, but it's all it has to offer.
Right.
And so I'm kind of sick of it already. Is the back half going to be just more of the same? And then, yeah, it starts to change up a bit in the back half, which I thought was really nice and leads us into a duet with the singer everyone knows, the world famous who?
Dawn Phillips.
Of course, Dawn Phillips.
Just
Everyone's got to have a duo with Dawn Phillips.
He's on the cusp of a burgeoning career. He's a musician. I maybe he's like a writer or something. We honestly did not look this up. So
I tried.
You did?
Well, I kind of tried. He did. I couldn't click on his name in Wikipedia, so that's about as much as I tried.
I looked him up on Spotify. His first album was in like 2007.
Wow.
So like 8 years later.
Interesting.
So I thought maybe he's like a songwriter or something.
Or like a session guy.
Yeah.
Brought in to do backing vocals and stuff.
He's in like the parenthetical. It's like.
Yeah.
Like they're like, oh my gosh, you guys, guess who's on the duet on this song? And everyone's like.
So maybe he was supposed to be next, catapulted into fame from his spot on the Britney album.
Yeah.
And then something happened.
Yeah.
I don't know what. That was interesting. But I mean, hey, good singer. Fun little duet. You don't hear a lot of duets.
My thing with this is like, though, Britney sounds like a teen in this, and he sounds like, at least in his 20s, like, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's like a little weird.
It's true, yeah. He sounds a little
very mature
coming
voice.
in. You are 16, going on 17. Yeah, a little bit.
I don't know about this.
Then we get Deep in My Heart, just pure 90s dance R&B.
So good.
Just just a blast. It's
Yeah.
just pure fun. That's all it is.
I know. I think weirdly, because I was kind of snobby about Britney when this came out. I was in high school, and I was just like, oh, following the leads of the news cycle that kind of made us be like, don't like a girl for being successful.
Yeah.
I think I might have liked her more if these kind of more Mariah Carey-ish or R&B-esque songs had been the singles. Not that they're better songs, but I think I would have had an entry point a little more.
Yeah, I hear you. I see what you mean. Yeah.
I'm surprised not one of these wasn't put out as a single.
Yeah, the weirder ones.
Yeah.
And speaking of weirder, we get into Thinking About You, and you get like this weird, unexpected delivery of like thinking about, that's really creative as the hook.
Yeah, I liked that.
Yeah.
I liked that.
You also have a really interesting bass line going on in Thinking About You that I enjoyed. So yeah, there's like hidden gems at the end of this record.
I think this is my favorite song besides Baby One More Time.
My favorite is actually the closer, but we're not quite there yet.
We're not quite there.
Because you need to email me, email my heart.
My heart.
Email my heart. So, I mean, it was my favorite ballad. It's fun.
You like it.
It's just so ridiculous that there's a song, Email My Heart.
I just thought it was exactly what it said on the tin. Like, I was like, this is going to be silly. And I wasn't that into it. But I'm glad you liked it. Like, here's the thing. At the time, computer technology was still pretty new. And I think there was this thing of like, to be cool, you have to have a song that like references technology in some way.
Hey, that's how I like my ballads, dated by tech references. That's how I prefer all my ballads.
This song, so whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, this song is exactly what you think it's going to be based on the title.
I had fun with it. I'll say that. I preferred it to the other ballad on there. So, I mean, really, it's no different than like, how many older songs are all about like call me and, about
so it's
calling.
like, yeah, I get that. That's the evolution of like, now we email.
Yeah.
Instead of call.
Right. So, okay, let's breeze past that and get on to Beat Goes On, because what a surprise. My favorite song on the record.
Cover.
Oh.
Of Sonny and Cher.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I like heard it because it came on and I was like, what is this? What? And then I was listening. I was like, I think this is a cover. And so I looked it up. Yeah. It's pretty like, it's kind of similar to the original.
Yeah.
Not fully, but.
Now that you say that, it like totally rings a bell and I can hear it. But yeah, at the time,
you were like, whoa.
I was like Jack Skellington. I was like, what's this? What's this? Yeah, starting with this, like, all the highs are cut, and you're just, like, getting the low end of it, and then, like, slowly they bring in the highs. It's like how stuff used to start, like, DJ club mixes and stuff, like, starting on that and then ramping into the real song.
Yeah, there's some cool production on this song.
But yeah, that was my favorite one. So, what's next? Is it, there's like a parenthetical, oops.
Oh, is it Oops, I Did It Again?
Yeah.
You just name the album off the single. That's all you need to do.
So we had ellipses with this. Now we get parenthetical with the next record. I'm pretty interested to go on this journey with you guys, go through all of her records. This was a fun one to start with. What's your favorite track on it? And what are we totally wrong about?
I'm sure there's a lot. We apologize.
We don't know everything, but fill us in on... Fill in the gaps for us.
Yeah, you guys know. You guys know.
Yeah, they always know more than us. It's very informative.
Well, like, we know a little about a lot. Some people know a lot about a little. And that's not saying, like, I'm just saying some people are big fans. They know a lot. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, looking forward to seeing what you guys think of this. Should we continue on quickly to Oops, I Did It Again? If so, stick around and subscribe. This is Joe. This is Not Every Single. I'm Joe.
And I'm Stephanie.
We'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Bye.